What if the reason some people develop aggressive cancer in their 60s and 70s, while others with identical genetics never do, has nothing to do with luck and everything to do with what's sitting in your kitchen right now? Most people over 60 believe the window for cancer prevention has already closed, that whatever damage is done, that at this point you're just waiting and hoping. That belief could be costing you years of your life, and today I'm going to show you exactly why. Here's what we know and almost nobody talks about in a doctor's office. Your body is fighting cancer every single day. Right now, whether you're 62 or 78, your cells have the machinery to identify rogue cancer cells, cut off their blood supply, and repair damaged DNA before it ever becomes a tumor. The question isn't whether that machinery exists inside you, it does. The question is whether you're feeding it the right fuel. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact foods that activate your body's natural anti-cancer defenses, specifically for people over 60 when these systems need the most nutritional support. You'll learn which foods can literally starve a tumor before it grows, which ones repair DNA damage at the cellular level, and the precise amounts you need to eat starting this week. I'm Dr. Gregory Holt. I've spent over 15 years working in health and preventive medicine, with a specific focus on healthy aging in men and women over 60. I've watched thousands of patients and I've seen firsthand that the people who age without cancer are not genetically superior. They eat differently. Everything I share here is for educational purposes. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you have a personal or family history of cancer or any active health concerns, please consult your licensed physician before making changes to your diet. Your health deserves that level of personalized care. Let me start with something that fundamentally changes how you think about cancer and why, after 60, understanding this is more important than ever. Right now, you almost certainly have microscopic clusters of cancer cells somewhere in your body. Don't panic, that's completely normal biology. You have roughly 40 trillion cells that are constantly dividing. Copying errors happen. Some of those errors produce abnormal, technically cancerous cells. But here's what separates a harmless microscopic cluster from a life-threatening tumor: blood vessels. A tumor without a blood supply cannot grow beyond roughly 1 to 2 millimeters. That's smaller than a grain of rice. It can sit there for years, completely dormant, completely harmless, because it has no way to get oxygen and nutrients. The moment blood vessels reach that tumor, everything changes. Researchers at Harvard Medical School tracked tumor growth rates using advanced imaging and found that once blood vessels connect to a tumor, the growth rate increases by a factor of 16,000 in approximately 2 weeks. A pinpoint becomes a grape becomes a problem. This process is called angiogenesis, the growth of new blood vessels. Tumors are clever. They release chemical signals that essentially trick your body into building roads directly to them. Once those roads are built, the tumor explodes. Now, pharmaceutical companies have spent billions developing drugs that block tumor angiogenesis. They work, but they also affect blood vessel growth throughout your entire body and come with serious side effects. Here's what changed my thinking. When researchers started testing food extracts using the same laboratory assays used for those pharmaceutical drugs, they found something extraordinary. Certain foods can block tumor angiogenesis just as effectively as experimental cancer compounds. One study tested green tea extract. The scientists said, and I'm paraphrasing from the published research, that if they hadn't known it came from a plant, they would have immediately moved it into clinical trials. The polyphenols in green tea, especially a compound called EGCG, were as effective at blocking abnormal blood vessel growth as some cancer drugs being developed at that time. Over 100 foods have now been tested and shown to have measurable anti-angiogenic properties. This isn't speculation, this is measured in controlled laboratory settings. And after 60, when your immune system is naturally less aggressive, keeping those microscopic clusters starved of blood supply becomes one of your most important defenses. Stay with me, because the next point is where most people get completely blindsided. Every single day, your DNA takes damage. UV radiation, environmental pollutants, chemicals in processed food, and even normal metabolic processes inside your own cells create breaks and errors in your genetic code. You have repair systems designed to fix this damage before it becomes a permanent mutation. Think of it like a road maintenance crew. If the crew has the right tools and materials, they fix every pothole immediately. The road stays smooth. But if the crew is understaffed and under-equipped, the potholes multiply. Eventually, the road becomes undrivable. Here's the problem for people over 60. Those DNA repair systems become less efficient with age. Research consistently shows that DNA repair capacity declines as we get older, which means the nutritional support for those systems matters more now than it ever did in your 30s or 40s. This is where the research gets remarkable, and this surprised me the first time I read it, because the food in question is one almost nobody talks about: kiwi fruit. A study from the University of Oslo recruited 43 healthy adults and had them eat either 1, 2, or 3 kiwis per day for 3 weeks. At the end of 3 weeks, researchers used a technique called the COMET assay, which literally allows you to see broken DNA strands under a microscope, to measure DNA damage in participants' cells. The results were striking. People eating 1 kiwi daily showed 60% less DNA damage compared to their own baseline. 1 piece of fruit, 60% reduction in cellular DNA damage. People eating 3 kiwis daily showed something even more remarkable. Not only was new damage prevented, but existing damage was repaired. Their DNA repair capacity improved by 60% compared to where they started. The mechanism is a combination of vitamin C, which directly neutralizes the free radicals that cause DNA strand breaks, plus polyphenols, flavonoids, and carotenoids in kiwi fruit that work together in ways we're still fully understanding. Here's the key distinction. You can take a vitamin C supplement. It will give you antioxidant benefit. But when you eat a whole kiwi, you're getting vitamin C plus dozens of companion compounds that enhance each other's effects. The whole food is measurably more powerful than isolated supplements. We see this pattern over and over in the research. For people over 60, where DNA repair is already slowing down, the case for eating kiwi fruit every single day is one of the strongest in nutritional oncology. Your immune system has specialized cells called natural killer cells and T cells. These are your body's frontline cancer fighters. They patrol your bloodstream, identify abnormal cells, and eliminate them before clusters can form. Here's a fact that most people over 60 don't know. Your immune surveillance is already working harder than it did 20 years ago, because your cells are dividing less perfectly and creating more targets. At the same time, aging naturally reduces the total number of active immune cells in circulation. You need more soldiers, and you're working with fewer of them, unless you do something about it. A study from the University of Auckland studied athletes, specifically because intense exercise temporarily suppresses immune function, making it easier to measure dietary impact clearly. Athletes consumed 1.5 cups of blueberries daily for 6 weeks. At the end of 6 weeks, they had 88% more T cells circulating in their bloodstream. Their natural killer cell activity was significantly elevated. This wasn't a subjective wellness score. This was a measured, counted increase in the actual cells that destroy cancer. The active compounds are anthocyanins, the blue pigments in blueberries that act as powerful immune stimulators. And blueberries do something else that's particularly valuable for people over 60. They reduce chronic low-grade inflammation while simultaneously boosting immune activity. That seems contradictory, but it's one of the most important properties of these compounds. They don't just suppress the immune system broadly, they reduce harmful inflammatory processes while sharpening the immune response to cancer. A study from the University of East Anglia tracked nearly 200,000 people over more than 20 years. Those who consumed the highest amounts of anthocyanin-rich foods, primarily berries, had a 17% lower overall cancer risk. For specific cancers like esophageal and colorectal cancer, the risk reduction was up to 40%, 1 cup daily. Fresh or frozen. Frozen blueberries are often picked and flash frozen at peak ripeness, and can actually be higher in anthocyanins than fresh berries that have been sitting in transit. This is the point that, when I share it with patients over 60, completely changes how they think about cancer prevention. Your gut contains trillions of bacteria. We've known for years that gut health affects digestion and energy. What we now know, and this is emerging from some of the most important cancer research in the last decade, is that specific bacteria in your gut directly determine how effectively your immune system fights cancer. There's one bacterial species in particular called Akkermansia mucinifila. Think of it as the gatekeeper bacteria. It lives in the mucous lining of your gut and directly primes your immune system to recognize and attack cancer cells. Researchers at the Gustave Roussy Cancer Center in France studied 200 cancer patients receiving immunotherapy, a treatment that helps the immune system identify and destroy cancer. Some patients responded dramatically, with even advanced cancers disappearing after a few treatments. Others saw no benefit at all. The researchers analyzed stool samples from all 200 patients and found one factor that predicted response better than anything else: the presence of Akkermansia in the gut. Patients with high Akkermansia levels responded to treatment. Patients without it largely didn't. This bacteria determines whether your immune system operates at full capacity against cancer. And most people over 60 have depleted levels because Akkermansia is wiped out by antibiotics, a poor diet, and the natural changes in gut microbiome that come with age. Here's the remarkable part. You can rebuild Akkermansia through food, specifically through pomegranate. Pomegranates contain compounds called L-argitannins that your gut bacteria convert into urolithin A, a compound that directly feeds and multiplies Akkermansia populations. 4 ounces of pure pomegranate juice daily, or half a fresh pomegranate, provides enough L-argitannins to significantly support Akkermansia growth. If you can't source pomegranate consistently, you can also get L-argitannins from walnuts, raspberries, and cranberries. Rotating between these foods gives you variety and maintains the benefit. And here's the connection to come back to. Akkermansia doesn't just help if you're in cancer treatment. It keeps your immune surveillance sharp every single day. For people over 60 who are statistically entering their highest risk decades, maintaining a healthy Akkermansia population may be one of the most powerful preventive investments you can make. Let me give you the exact protocol, because information without application is useless. Kiwi fruit, 1 to 3 daily. 1 kiwi daily for general DNA protection. If you have a family history of cancer, aim for 3. You can eat the skin of organic kiwis. It contains additional fiber and polyphenols. Golden kiwis have smooth skin and offer the same benefits. Add them to yogurt, blend into a smoothie, or simply cut in half and scoop. Green tea, 3 cups daily, properly brewed. Not bottled green tea, not tea that's been sitting in a convenience store fridge with added sugar, loose leaf or high quality bagged green tea, brewed at 175 degrees Fahrenheit, that's steaming but not boiling. Steep for 3 to 5 minutes. Add lemon juice. Vitamin C from lemon increases EGCG absorption by approximately 6-fold by stabilizing the catechins in your digestive system. Do not add dairy milk. The proteins bind to the beneficial compounds and block absorption. Blueberries, 1 cup daily. Fresh or frozen every day. Consistency matters more than amount. 1 cup daily delivers the steady anthocyanin input your immune system needs. Add to oatmeal, yogurt, or eat plain. Broccoli sprouts, 1/4 cup, 3 to 4 times per week. This one surprises people. Mature broccoli is healthy, but broccoli sprouts, the 3 to 4 day old seedlings, contain 100 times more sulforaphane, the compound that activates your body's detoxification systems and has direct anti-cancer effects on cells. A study from Johns Hopkins found that a small handful of broccoli sprouts delivers as much sulforaphane as several pounds of mature broccoli. Look for them in the produce section near other sprouts, or grow your own in a jar at home. It takes 4 days and costs almost nothing. Lightly steam them for 3 to 4 minutes to increase bioavailability. Boiling destroys sulforaphane entirely. Never boil. Cook tomatoes, at least 3 servings per week. The active compound is lycopene, a carotenoid that blocks angiogenesis and protects cellular DNA. Raw tomatoes provide some lycopene. Cooked tomatoes, tomato sauce, tomato paste, roasted tomatoes break down cell walls and release lycopene in a form your body can absorb far more efficiently. A Harvard study following 47,000 men for 12 years found that those who ate tomato products at least twice weekly had a 23% lower risk of prostate cancer. Men consuming 10 or more servings weekly saw risk reductions up to 35%. Always cook tomatoes with olive oil. Lycopene is fat-soluble and requires dietary fat for absorption. Olive oil is your ideal pairing. Pomegranate. 4 ounces of pure juice daily or half a fresh pomegranate. No added sugar. This is your Akkermansia fuel, your gut immunology support. If pomegranate isn't available, rotate with walnuts, raspberries, or cranberries. Soy foods, 2 to 3 servings per week. Tofu, tempeh, edamame. There is persistent misinformation about soy being dangerous for hormone-related cancers. The research does not support this. The phytoestrogens in soy actually block human estrogen receptors, which is protective. The active compound genistein is one of the most powerful anti-angiogenic substances ever tested, inhibiting tumor blood vessel growth by over 70% in experimental models. A meta-analysis of 35 studies found women with the highest soy consumption had a 29% lower risk of developing breast cancer. Timing matters. Your DNA repair systems are most active while you sleep. Eat kiwi fruit and berries earlier in the day so nutrients are absorbed and distributed by bedtime. Save green tea for afternoon. Don't eat heavy meals within 3 hours of bedtime. Digestion diverts resources away from the cellular repair work your body does overnight. Combination creates synergy. Green tea with lemon, 6-fold increase in EGCG absorption. Tomatoes with olive oil, 3-fold increase in lycopene absorption. A morning smoothie with blueberries, kiwi, and a handful of spinach delivers anthocyanins, vitamin C, and anti-angiogenic compounds in one glass. A dinner plate of baked tofu with steamed broccoli sprouts and tomato sauce covers genistein, sulforaphane, and lycopene simultaneously. These combinations aren't coincidences. They're the most efficient way to stack protective mechanisms. Here's what we covered today. Cancer cells need blood vessels to grow. Foods like green tea and soy block that blood supply. Kiwi fruit repairs DNA damage at the cellular level with documented evidence. Blueberries increase your cancer-fighting immune cells by up to 88%. Pomegranate feeds the gut bacteria that determines how powerfully your immune system responds. And your protocol: kiwi fruit daily, green tea 3 cups daily, blueberries daily, broccoli sprouts 3 times weekly, cooked tomatoes 3 servings weekly, pomegranate 4 ounces daily, soy foods twice weekly. Consistency beats perfection, combination creates synergy, and starting today beats waiting for the perfect moment. If any of this surprised you, and I suspect at least one thing did, drop it in the comments below. Tell me which food you're adding to your routine first. I read every single comment, and your question might be the one that shapes the next video. If this was useful to you, please subscribe. It's completely free, it takes 2 seconds, and it means you won't miss what I'm putting out next. I'm Dr. Gregory Holt, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself. You've earned it.